Good afternoon. This is the Facility Subcommittee meeting scheduled for Thursday, June 12th at 2025 at 4 o'clock. Opening procedures. Welcome, everyone. Public communication on posted items. Do we have any?
No, we don't.
Okay. Moving on to item C, items for discussion. Number 1, project updates.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I wanted to introduce our team before we get started so we can all make sure we're familiar with one another. Janaea Quirk, Assistant Superintendent of Facilities and Operations. To my right is Mr. Jason Brust. He's our Director for Planning and Construction. And across the table is Colleen Kieran. She's our admin support and helps make the world go around for us. So today is our facility subcommittee meeting. We are going to try to be having these at least twice a year, if not quarterly, with the rate and the volume of the work that we have going on and will be forecasting for the future. And so we wanted to take the opportunity for today to come and talk to you a little bit about how projects are going, and then also some of the work that we're doing to get us ready for that next step. And so in that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brust and ask him to walk you through his PowerPoint slide and give you quick updates on our current projects, and then we have a series of other layers of information that we will be sharing with you.
Good afternoon, and thank you. It's a very exciting time here in Sweetwater, considering all of the projects that we have currently, either in design, bidding, and construction. So we're going to spend a few minutes here going over each and every one of those. We'll provide some statistics about the status of each one of those, and if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to let me know.
Okay.
We'll start off with the first project is Bonita Vista High School Building and Site Improvements Project. This is a new classroom building that includes site improvements contained within the building. It's programmed for a dance classroom, engineering, multimedia, sports medicine, auto shop classroom, and digital photography. The current construction value of the project is $19 million. As you can see from the photos there, construction is well underway. It's currently 21% complete. We are, at this time, running actually a slightly negative change order rate. We had some credits that were provided during the early part of this process, and we're looking at a spring of 2026 completion date.
Nice. Okay.
Next, we have Castle Park High School Building and Site Improvements. This project is a new 13 classroom building that includes an ASB workroom, counseling office, and site improvements. Its current construction value is $19 million. It is also in construction. They are doing grading, some underground utilities, foundation work. At the moment, it's 18% complete. And right now, we have a 100th of 1% change order rate on the project. So very, very minor. And we're at 18% complete, like I mentioned for that. And we're looking at a spring of 2026 completion date. Next, we have Castle Park High School Stadium Project. This is a new synthetic track and turf field. It includes new bleachers, a new restroom concession building, equipment storage building, site improvements. The construction value is $34.4 million. It is in construction currently and is over 81% complete. So we're seeing a lot of great progress on that, as you can see from the photos. The top photo there is a fairly recent photo. You can start to see the outline of the track and the field, the home side bleachers on the right side, and then ultimately the rendering of what it will look like. So at Castle Park High School, like I said, we're at 81% complete. We are currently at 0.75% of a change order rate, and we're looking at a winter of 2025 completion date. Next is Chula Vista High School. That project is currently in construction. Also new synthetic turf field and track, bleachers, restroom concession, equipment storage building, site improvements. It has a $28.8 million construction value and is 19% complete, and it is less than, actually we have a little bit of a credit there also. We're in the negative change order rate range for that one, and we're looking at a summer 2026 completion date for that.
August, so we're looking, but hopefully football there next year.
For fall sports?
Uh-huh. If there are no complications.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next project is Granger Junior High School. This project has a $16 million construction value and includes a new 4-classroom building with an event space, PE locker rooms, site improvements, and the classrooms include an art classroom, band classroom, weight room, some PE spaces as well. This project is currently in the bidding phase, and we're expecting a winter of 2026 completion date for that. Mar Vista Academy, Building and Site Improvements, is a new student services building that includes a special education suite, as well as a new events building and restrooms. Contained within the student services buildings are spaces for counselors, nurse, administration as well. It has a $13.75 million construction value and is 24% complete, and right now we are running a 0% change order rate with a completion expected to be summer of 2026.
Summer? April?
Yes, summer of 26.
Okay.
Next, we have Mar Vista High School Stadium modernization. This, similar in nature to the other stadium projects, includes a synthetic track and turf field, bleachers, restroom concession, equipment storage building, and site improvements. Its construction value is $30.9 million. It's currently in construction and is 54% complete, and has a 0.25% current change order rate, and we are expecting a completion date of spring 2026. Southwest High School Stadium modernization, similar in nature to the others, track and field, synthetic track and field, amenities, bleachers, restroom concession, equipment storage building, site improvements. We are estimating a $31 million construction value. It's currently in the bidding process right now, and we are expecting a completion date of spring of 2027. Olympian High School, this new building project is a new 2-story classroom building, including 5 new outdoor shade structures with associated landscaping, marquee replacement, and has a construction value of $16.5 million. And this project is currently in construction, although it is 89% complete. We are expecting completion within the next month or so, so we're looking for a ribbon cutting ceremony to come soon for this. And on this slide here, I think is really a great representation. On the top portion of the photo there, you have the artist's rendering of what we believe that the building would look like prior to construction, and then below is the actual photo. So pleased to say that they coincide very nicely with one another there. That project is currently at 89% complete, has a 0.5% change order rate, and we are expecting, like I said, to be completed here in the summer of 2025. Next is the Eastlake High School Library modernization. This is the rehabilitation of the existing library to provide an update to the space, update to the storage space for textbooks, some high-density storage. It also includes 2 special education classrooms with hygiene room, life skills spaces, sensory rooms, and it also includes CTE sports medicine, as well as a treatment space just adjacent to the sports fields for ease of access there. Its current construction value is $8.9 million. It is in construction. It is 81% complete, and right now has a 2.5% change order rate, and we are expecting this to be completed in winter of 2025.
Okay.
Rancho Del Rey Middle School rehabilitation. This, I'll spend a little bit more time on this. This has been an interesting journey to date. When Ms. Quirk originally introduced this project and we began having discussions on exactly what the scope would be involved in this, it was primarily around the replacement of air conditioning units, new roofing, some replacement of lower portions of exterior stucco, because they had some failure points, and so we started to do the investigation, and it related to those aspects of the project. And what we quickly realized that there were other factors that needed to be taken into consideration. So one of the goals in the Planning and Construction Department when we initially start the investigation process on a project is to really make sure that we're looking at it holistically and that we look at all aspects. So if there is a concern related to the building, we look at maybe what had been done prior, the history of it, original construction. So we've had a litany of folks out there, from engineers, soils experts, a whole group of folks really as part of that investigation into the site. So this project is currently in design, and right now we are, the total construction value is still to be determined, but at this point the scope has expanded in such a way that it also will include new drop-off and pickup locations, a lot of ADA accessibility requirements, and some new student seating areas, a lot of the HVAC and roofing pieces are still in there, some interior finishes, and those are all related to the work that needs to happen in the exterior of the building. The other piece of this that is a little bit unique when viewed in relation to our other projects is that because of the nature of the work required here, we will need to relocate students when that work is taking place. So in order to do that, we had to design and develop an interim or temporary housing space for students. So we'll be bringing in temporary classrooms, relocating students for a period we're estimating to be 1 semester, dividing the campus into quadrants, typically about quarters, roughly. Those students would temporarily be relocated to these temporary spaces. The work would be completed, they would then return, and then we would continue that cycle for a period of 24 months.
Where are the portables going to be?
They're going to be split between 2 locations, primarily on the existing basketball courts, the eastern side of the existing basketball courts, and then some will be added in adjacent right to the existing portables near the sports fields.
Yeah, in the back.
So we had quite a few discussions with civil engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers as far as where we could place these portables and still maintain access, provide utilities to them. Additionally, the classrooms, in addition to the classrooms, we'll have some temporary restrooms because we'll have those closed down as well.
Yes.
So we're gonna include those in the process as well. Another part of this process in investigation here, we looked at enrollment statistics and what the enrollment projections will be in the upcoming 2 years for Rancho Del Rey. As we all know, there's a large number of students there. So in investigating that, we've also determined that there's going to be a little bit of a spike, a short-term spike in enrollment there. So in order to compensate for that, we actually brought in some additional portable classrooms to account for that short-term increase in student enrollment, so that by the time the project is done, those portables will leave the campus, student population would decrease, and everyone would have new spaces to learn and enjoy in.
By the portables taking up athletic field space, how is it going to affect the PE classes?
So we've met with the PE classes, representatives there, looked at space planning of how they're going to utilize current curriculum. Rancho Del Rey has a little bit of a unique physical education program where they have classroom time, so we're taking that into consideration as well. I think there's also been some discussions with the city because there is a park just adjacent to the school site. We're looking at the possibility of also using that as a flex space in addition to the field space.
Okay.
Anything else? Any questions on that one? There's a lot there, and there'll be more to come.
So what I'm looking at, the renderings, this is how it should look.
Yes.
that's a complete redo from what's there already. Is it still gonna be purple?
No, so that was in one of our original scopes, was to actually paint the campus. When we redid the roofs, those would be a different color, and then we would cascade that through the campus. So this is a rendering of what it could look like. We definitely wanted to demonstrate that it would look aesthetically different than where we are today. We have not locked in on our color scheme. It will be different from where we are today. A more modern, fresh look for sure. And it definitely brightens up the campus. And then the grass that you see is synthetic, which is kind of our standard that we've been moving to as we've been doing quad improvements on school sites. And then also some other landscape improvements as well. But the focus of this is for us to interrupt some longer-term severity that could be occurring to those buildings if we don't go in and address this in the proper manner. And unfortunately, it's not just in a building. It has to do with how the campus was originally constructed. And that's why we're seeing that ripple effect and the magnitude of it, so.
Well,
More
I
to
do
come.
have to say, I'm glad that we're not gonna put a Band-Aid on it, that we're actually going to go in and fix the problem instead of just the Band-Aid.
Yeah, I agree, and we had that conversation. I think you're all learning how we operate, and that is our approach, and I believe it's the approach of the dais as well. I do forecast that this could be a rough conversation in some directions as we move forward, and that's okay. Really, it is about maintaining the integrity of these buildings, and the water intrusion work that will be done around the perimeter of these buildings will be essential in that, and it comes with a cost.
Okay. I am so happy about the drop-off and pick-off changes. You don't know how many hours I spent in those lines.
So I want to be really clear and very upfront. We have very unique challenges on that property with elevation changes or limitations, and there's not a lot of flex, there's no room from the front of the school to the street. And so while there will be what we hope to ultimately end up resulting in an improved experience, it will not take away from the volume.
Okay.
So there's not, we're landlocked, and short of taking out all the buildings and setting the campus farther back, we won't. So we're looking and working, Mr. Brust and his team have been working already with transportation, and we'll continue to work with the site admin in assessing that for little improvements. But we don't feel like, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not when we're gonna go, wow, that's amazing.
No, the improvements are related to
Yeah.
accessibility
Yeah.
and having accessible drop-off and pickup locations.
Yeah.
So it might be better, but it's not gonna solve the problem that you likely are receiving phone calls about.
Better is okay. No, I don't receive phone calls. I've lived it.
Oh, yeah, I feel you.
I lived it.
Do you have more?
I think that's it. The next campus we'll look at here is East Hills Academy. This is a new building addition that is a student services building that will house school psychologists, counselors, and office staff. It also include exterior site improvements and some modified landscaping as well. Its current budget is $1.2 million and is in the bidding phase, and we expect a completion in winter of 2026. Next, we have Otay Ranch High School perimeter fence project. This includes new fencing and gates to improve security. Improvements will also be made to the circulation for students, as well as entry and exit to and from the campus, pedestrian walkways, and overall circulation on the campus. The value of the project is $3 million. We just began construction as soon as graduation ended, so they're out there doing a lot of demolition as we speak, and we're expected to be completed with that in the winter of 2026. And last but not least, we have a list here of some miscellaneous projects that are in various phases. The first one that you see on the top left corner there is the security cameras. That was broken into 4 primary phases. There were a couple of small sub-phases in there as well, but Phases 1, 2, and 3 of the security camera installation has been completed and is in closeout. Staff has been trained, and it's fully implemented at those sites. We're just about ready to start the construction for Phase 4 of security cameras. And Phase 4 includes Castle Park High School, Hilltop High School, Mar Vista High School, National City Middle, Palomar High School, and Southwest Middle School. The value of that project is approximately $390,000 and is expected to be completed in fall of 2025. Additionally, we have the Montgomery High School Stadium field refurbishment. We just had our kickoff meeting for construction there. We've got a contractor on board. Construction is set to begin here in the coming month. We are having we have a estimated, well, it's not estimated anymore because we've got the contractor in place, but a construction value of $2.53 million, and we are expecting a completion of fall of 2025. And then lastly, we have adult school marquee replacements with a value of $775,000. That is currently in the bidding phase and is expected to be completed in winter of 2026. Those locations would be Chula Vista Adult, National City Adult, and San Ysidro Adult Schools. So after reviewing all of the list of projects here, it's, like I said earlier, it's exciting time to be providing opportunity for students and staff and community members in the Sweetwater District. So, yes, a question?
I do have a
Okay.
question. For the marquees, is it going to the 4 adult schools? Because you only mentioned 3.
Only 3 of them.
Only 3.
So we worked with the site and they prioritized those 3. Montgomery Adult was not one of those. There were some limitations, I guess, on placement there and some easements that we looked at. So we worked with the director of the adult schools
Okay.
on those. So in total, right, as of today, projects that are either currently bidding, currently in construction, or currently in the closeout phase, we have, as a district, over $226 million worth of projects in one of those phases. So, like I said, it's very exciting and honestly an honor to be part of that process, to help provide students and support them.
I am so happy that we are able to provide these improvements for the students and their families, because not many districts can. And I do have to thank our community for the bonds that they have passed in the past and recently, because this is your dollars being used.
Thank you, Mr. Brust. Ms. Kieran, if you could pull up the summary modeling document that I shared with you earlier today. So what I'm going to begin to share with you are a series of documents that are, frankly, they're live working documents for myself and Mr. Brust as we are looking at the program and how to move us forward. And so the sheet that's up here was actually created by K&N. There are financial analysts that support Dr. Salkeld and her team in terms of the bond issuances and the distribution of funds. And so this document has the balance of Proposition O. You'll see at the very top says ODDRR. And then it has the year forecast for you. So we've taken this model and it takes us all the way out to you see that, 2041. And it also shows you the tier of where we stand with Prop O. And Prop O is what goes out to 2041. DD is with us up until 2029. And then Measure RR, which was just approved in November, has a lifespan until 2033. Mm-hmm. So we've taken this modeling and then Ms. Kieran, if you can pull up the draft summary model. And I'm showing this to you right here because I'm asking you to focus at the top of the page where we break down the different series and the bottom of the page by the tabs. try to just not pay attention to some of the information in the middle for the time being. What we did was we took that summary model, because we've been talking about something that's not really ever existed here in the Sweetwater District, and that's a long-term plan in terms of how to utilize and expense bond dollars. And as we all know, that there's a lot of fluidity that comes with bond dollars, right? When do we get them? When do we actually have the capacity to go to the market to have some of those issuances released to us? And then what's the lifespan on them? And then more importantly, how do we go through the process of determining where the money goes and to what school does it get distributed? And so we have been spending a significant amount of time pulling these things together. So we started in this year, 2025, and we'll click through some of these tabs in just a moment, but in 2025, to get us started, because our goal right now, let me back up for a second. We had the issuance, the $50 million issuance that we just did for Measure RR. And we did that with the intent to get Southwest High Stadium in motion. And we had a little bit money left. What we've also seen, if you look at the screen, is the balance of what we're tracking for Measure DD or contingency. And so the top of these pages are a good model. They show you how much we got per issuance. And then if you look at the left column, we set aside 5% for program management and 5% for program contingency on every single issuance. So with Measure DD, the projects that we currently have in construction, our savings that we have and that we're trying to put to good use is that $20 million we had in program contingency. Okay. So, and then we have a little bit of program contingency from Prop O. So we looked at what we have available in 2025 so that we can then start to forecast our next issuance, which when you go to the model from KNN, we're forecasted for our next issuance in the fall of 2026. Would you click to the 2026 tab? So in the 2026 tab, what we did was we kept the series broken down separately, O, D, D, and R, what the forecasted values are that KNN has put together for us. Now these things they may go up and they may go down over time. The values of the issuances are always attached to our assessed valuations as a collective within the district. But we are going to use these things as a roadmap for now. So we went in, and each one of these series, we've put in the value that has been forecast, and we plugged in the program management and the contingency. So then we can see what the issuance project budget value remaining would be, which is on line 7. And we can see that that is the monies that we would start looking at and how to distribute for the each of the respective projects. Some general theories, Measure DD and RR, in terms of their language, are very broad. We can do new construction, we can do modernization, there's lots of layers of language. We can do small projects. It can be very maintenance focused. We can do just about anything within the parameters of the bond language with those funds. Prop O is more constrained, has more constraint to it. And so what my theory with Prop O, especially since it lasts and extends out to 2041, is to be looking at more maintenance-related projects and or kitchen modernizations and refurbishments. So that's our general theory. And then Colleen can just click through for you for 2026, 2027, and then we kept going all the way out. And so Colleen, if you want to just click through them, you can see we've built the model all the way through to 2041. When we finally get to 2030, we're down to just O at these points. And so we have a forecast, and we started building those up together. That one, you just keep clicking to your right and you see our issuances. So that's the model that we're using to start to populate so we can play with how we could build out our program over a 10-year time period. So that's one piece of it. Then the next piece is obviously we have our master plan, which we did in 2024. You all approved earlier in the fall. And then Colleen, if you would pull up the equity spreadsheet. This is a lot to look at, and I'm going to ask you to bear with me for a minute. One of the things that we consistently see across our school sites is that there's a perception of and or an experience of different school sites have different work that has been completed to date. And it's really hard to tell the story of what has or has not happened. And so this is my attempt to begin to put that together as a reference point for not only myself and for Mr. Brust, but for the folks at the dais, and frankly, at certain times, maybe out into our general communities. And so it's broken down by high school and middle school. I have the year that the school was opened. I have its acreage on there. We have current enrollment sitting in there. And I can't see that far, so I don't know that my 2 yellow tabs, and that's okay. I'm going to draw your attention to the green columns. We broke down from the beginning of Measure BB through O, DD, and now RR, the allocations to school sites to date. And I believe that that's an important story to tell. And so that is one thing. And then the green column all the way to the right is the cumulative value of each one of those school sites, okay? Now, times have changed from BB to now in terms of the value of $1, and so it's not always going to be equal, but the point is for equity in terms of what each campus has in terms of a facility. I then went so far, because we have many campuses, to say, well, we've never had any work done. Well, if you go look, I'll just use the top line as an example, Bonita Vista High School, you can see under Measure BB, they had 36 classrooms modernized. Castle Park High School had 46. I can't see all the way to the left, but who's under Castle Park had, I think that might be Chula Vista High School, had 57 classrooms modernized. And so those are important parts of the story as well. And then we went so far as to O and TDD. This is a live document. I'm constantly feeding information. As the column goes to the right, and I'm not going to go through this entire thing, I put all of the CFD sites on the bottom. And those are in a lighter shaded colors, but then each of the columns is a different kind of a facility component, whether it be a gym, it could be a library, it could be kitchens, it could be cafeterias, and then everything is coded with yes or no's. Is it new or modernized? Yes or no. And then I color coded the yes or no's. N's or no's, greens are yeses or greens. You do see some yellows up there. So what are the yellows? The yellows are for anything that we have that's in design or construction right now. I'm flagging it as yellow, and then it'll convert to green as soon as it's finished. But then that, for me, that was a way to start to get rid of all the stuff on the left, and you can start to focus on the things that are on the right in terms of in a minute, all of those, that's stadium, right? Everybody's going to be green on stadiums. And then the one on the bottom is broken down for middle schools. And so we take our master plan, we take this, and we start to have conversations and pull apart where we think there needs to be some balance in terms of the distribution of funds. We're also taking into consideration many other factors that are occurring within education right now, namely enrollment. And the decline in the enrollment, that's still an impact in some areas that is unknown for us, even with our recent demographic study. And so part of it is the focus of making recommendations as we move forward for parts of campuses that we know will always be in service. And so you're going to see that in a moment, because we're going to take everything we've just shown you, and we are going to put up what we are looking and exploring at bringing forward to the June 23rd board meeting for our kickoff for design for our next phase of work. And the intention for what we want to do here is to get projects in design so they are shelf ready for our issuance in the fall of 2026, because according to KNN's forecast that we showed you at the beginning, we are good for $125 million for the next 8 years. And so we want to get to where we're shelf ready. In this last section of money that we've had, we had to start from the ground up. We had to get the money, we had to identify the programs, we had to program, do all of the design, get to DSA, and that's a lengthy process from start to finish. And so this is going to be our kickoff. We are utilizing largely money from our contingency. And so what we did here was put together a spreadsheet. We looked for a little bit of cross-representation across the district. The design year tells you what year of the funds the designs would come from, and this goes back to that multi-tab sheet. These two things talk to each other. And then it tells you the fund, so Mr. Brust and I can track if it's solely funded. Right now, we are at a place where You'll be able to track. So you'll see some funds maybe in the design that are RR, but it might convert to DD. Because what this spreadsheet reflects for us is the forecast of funds that we would get from 2026 and 2027 issuance. And then if you go over, we tell you what the value is for design. It's basically, we're asking for $1 million across the board on most things, with the exception of fully funding some things that need to be attended to at Castle Park High School in terms of their parking lot, which is completely disintegrated. And there's a few other things in here as well. And then if you move over to the second fund column, it tells you what year, the blue column, the year funded for construction, tells you what issuance we would be fully funding the project, what fund it is, and what that presumed value is. On the right-hand side is the list of assumed projects at this time. I will put a disclaimer, we generalize some of these. You see building and site improvements. We have an idea of where we want to go, and it's just that one extra step of, hey, we're addressing locker rooms and adapted PE and quads, or are we going to make kitchen cafeterias the area focus? You'll see some kitchen and cafeterias up there already because we are using Propo dollars. There is, I think SUHI has some bond dollars for their kitchen and cafeteria. And so we also have at right now, we have set aside $10 million for district office. We are seeing that as a phased out improvement in 2 locations over several years, and there will be more money that you'll see come that way. They're highlighted in yellow because I consider that to be a little bit of a fluid conversation. You likely will not see that when we bring forward this project list in June. I might hold on that for a little bit or reduce the value so we can definitely kickstart design. We also have funded on here the Southwestern College, Middle College, and launch at Millennia. They're highlighted down on the bottom for you as well. And so we are sharing this with you for some feedback to see if there's any comments or questions or concerns that you would like to share or consider in terms of what we plan on bringing forward on the June 23rd board meeting. Are we going for June 23rd, Jason?
I think we should discuss it further.
We have a CIP. There's a lot of steps that have to happen. We were on target for July 21st, and I think part of that for me is a question for your team as well, is do you want us to bring you a first read in June and then the second read and the approval in July, or just go for it? And so that is a conversation we can have right here to get some feedback from you in terms of if you have a preference, and or depending on what our team needs to do. We already have a CIP coming, and so it's a matter of what we add. There's some formalities that we need to do between us and the finance team, and a pretty quick turnaround window with the second board meeting in the month. So that's what I have for here, and I'd like to open it up for questions.
I personally am very impressed with the spreadsheet where you have all of the schools listed, all of the projects that have occurred, are occurring, or need to occur, and the financing, where is it coming from? I'm very impressed with that.
Thank you.
It's everything at a glance.
That was the intention of this, because if trying to follow our tab sheet is a lot of work.
No.
And we have to, wait, what do we do? And we have to go back a lot. And so we consolidated it to a one-pager.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know whose idea it was, but beautiful. Shortened to the point. So my question, in the middle college, we are going to be paying the Southwestern College because they are providing the building, and it's a new building, it's a new construct, isn't it? Yes.
That is where we are headed with conversations. There's still a lot of ground between there. So for right now, we're earmarking the funds.
Yes.
So that it's readily available.
And the same thing with Millennia and
Correct.
Launch.
Correct.
Okay. But that's not slated to occur until at least the next school year.
Millennia, on Monday night, you approved the LOI, the DIAS did, on a Monday night for the LOI. We already have had pretty robust design meetings with them. And the last time myself, Dr. Aguirre, and Dr. Moore met with the city, I believe it's not till the fall of the 26-27 school year that Millennia, the launch build-out will be complete. So all the way through next year as
Yeah.
well.
26.
Okay?
All right. do you have any questions?
I had a question about lunch because I'm a lunch parent now, but you just answered it.
Okay.
And yeah, same thing on the spreadsheet, and we'll have at least a read-only access to that because that,
So this will, for the board meeting, this is not going to come to you in this form. This will come to you on the CIP form like it normally does. So on the CIP, the capital improvement program that we bring to you when we ask for money or tell you we're done with the project and we're closing it and what the final values were, you'll get, we'll have it, it'll say like,
It's a packet.
but-
yeah,
so we'll have access to that because that's exactly the questions that we,
Yes.
when's the last time you did something to X school?
Yeah.
So that's the information that I'd like to have handy and be like, well, actually, we just modernized 30 classrooms.
Maybe you could share it
oh,
as
I
a
can do that.
view.
Okay, I didn't know if you would want the inundation of it, but I'm happy to share as a working document and like I can put my disclaimers on it. You're talking about the equity sheet so you can see some of that?
Yes, so
Okay.
by campus, you've got this one, and that's one of the things we've talked to people about. There's a population that votes yes on our bonds, but never sees, they don't have kids in school, so they don't see what's going on. The only thing they see is, oh, you built a stadium, but we also built classrooms, or we built out labs, or ASB, or counseling, you know. A lot of people don't see that, so that's when we get questions about, well, what have you done here?
Yeah.
And that sheet perfectly illustrates that.
So I'll be happy to share that. I'll do it in a Friday update, so all of the Board of Trustees has access to it. I will go in and put some other disclaimers that you see my top. It's an internal document. It's moving. Today I'm like, oh wait, I need to add this column, and I added other columns, but it gives you a good snapshot in time, and I can timestamp that. And so I can update that accordingly, and we can push that out, because like when you were leaving the other night, you're like, well, I want to get my master plan so I can check things off, and I want you to be able to check things off as well. And I want as many of those oranges converted to green, but in a downward column, so that we see that the same things are happening consistently. And taking this and going back to the tabbed document, we're already talking about how we build out for the 10 years, and we plan, like kitchens is a really great example, right? Every single one of our high school kitchens, with the exception of our east sides, need to be redone. Many of our middle schools, if you scroll down, the middle schools are actually in really pretty good shape. A few of them need some TLC in there. I can't see the kitchen tab on there. Colleen, if you could highlight it right there, right? So they're kind of halfway there. And when you throw in the middle schools or the east side schools as well. And so that's one of the things that we've already started to plug in. And we've been working with Mr. Span on, hey, what's your prioritized order of how we can do those sorts of things? And then for the Prop O monies, having those be really focusing on roof and HVAC replacements.
Yes.
Like comprehensively, and you'll see that on that project list I gave you, or that we shared with you. Castle Park and Bonita Vista High School, maintenance is saying, hey, we have multiple classrooms on buildings on these campuses. They are at their end of life. They need to be replaced.
Yeah.
And so we're starting that process, and then also, hey, here's a whole kitchen that we can modernize to the studs and redo and turn over a refreshed facility to students and to the staff. And then if adult schools, we could be adding those in there as well. I mean, I see this document expanding and kind of going in some other directions, but yes.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
a beauty.
Okay, and are we all comfortable with us continuing with like a 10-year, or staying within that 2 to 3 year out range?
If we know that funding is going to be coming in,
Mm-hmm.
I say we plan it out.
Yep.
And if anything happens, we make changes if, for emergencies or,
There's two things that I think, so what we refer to that to is what's above the line and what's below the line, right? So if the AVs, which are still really doing quite well, which higher AVs means we have a higher propensity of getting dollars. And if everything holds, let's pretend. Right now, we're supposed to get $125 million in the fall of 2026. But let's pretend AVs continue to hold at the rate that they are right now. We could see that 125 get moved up to 160, 180. We could also see it drop. So for me, it's the potential movement of the dollars, which is always a possibility. And then the other thing really keeping an eye on is what the impact of the declining enrollment will truly feel like as we continue to navigate that, and where we have pockets. And if some campuses will have a more severe experience with that versus others, I think we can see some trajectory on some of that. Our Davis demographics shows us that as well. And so keeping those things in the forefront of our mind. So we're making sure that where we are spending dollars, that we're doing it in those, in step with if there's any larger, broader decisions on any level that need to happen as we move forward. So, but I think there's plenty of time and space between us on that. We have 2 solid issuances that I believe for 26 and 27, everything we've kind of snapshotted to you today would be accounted for. And then that would have us looking out towards 2028 at this point.
When you're working on the parking lots, are you considering to put in plug-ins, chargers?
Charging stations. I'm going to let Mr. Brust address that because he is in the more of the day-to-day at this point with building code and DSA requirements and the triggers and all of that.
So I won't attempt to explain, because I don't fully understand all of the intricacies of the green building code, but there are actual code requirements that drive those types of things. So it has to do with whether or not we are expanding the number of parking spots, whether we are decreasing the number of parking spots in totality in the existing area. Typically on our sites, we're just refurbishing existing parking. So there's a whole bunch of factors there that we work with our architecture team and do code analysis and those kind of things. But by and large, we do what is required on the latest and greatest building code. In January of next year, we will have a new building code that comes out, and there will likely be some modifications to that. So plans that we submit to the Division of State Architecture for review will be subject to those new codes moving forward in the coming years. So,
Yeah, because the only site that has them is Chula Vista High.
Castle Park and Sioux High both have, I think, 1 or 2.
Castle Park? Where?
Castle?
No?
Sioux High and Chula? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. How about here?
For what it's worth, we've been working with an entity for our bus charging stations for,
Our buses. Yeah, okay. Enough said about that then.
so unless you have anything else from us, we would be moving forward
I would say yes.
with, we have a CIP coming no matter what on June 23rd. He already has, Jason's team already has a few items on there. We'll be looking to expand and push that out a little bit more. And then we would be in full motion towards, moving towards 26, 27 for issuances.
So as soon as you have it,
Bring it forward.
I say as soon as you have it, we should vote on it.
Great. I like it. Great.
Read 1, read 2, it's not gonna change.
Okay, perfect. That's what I like to hear. That's great news. And then, other than that, we don't have anything else. We have our annual report from CBOC coming in. It'll be on the June 23rd board meeting as well. And then we'll be starting our meetings with them again in August. And I don't have anything else to share with you today. Mr. Brust, do you have any questions for us?
No, I am fine. So, basically, looking at the time, it is 4:51, and this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.